Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. All right, so I'm picking up on a masculine energy, although take that however it resonates for your situation. And he's giving me this phrase, go with the flow. And for some of you, I feel like this is playing out in real time, so take this however it resonates, but he is in a mindset. He's in his head, he's in a very logical way, and he's telling himself that he's going with the flow. That's what his actions are. That's what he's doing. It's him going with the flow, and he needs to go with the flow. The only thing he can do is go with the flow. And that's in a situation regarding you, or maybe in a situation regarding someone else. But there's another group of masculines here that I feel like maybe they've gotten a little more road behind them. They're more self-reflective. They've done more reflective work on themselves, but also this situation. And it's from their perspective that I want to give the rest of this reading, because from that place of reflection, the truth of what's actually going on here in this situation becomes clear. So even if this is playing out in real time and you're dealing with a guy that's saying like, let's go with the flow, and he hasn't reached the point where he has any genuine insight as to what's actually going on here, it's still much more helpful for you to see the truth of what's actually going on here rather than his perspective of something here, because he's not reflecting and he's not really in alignment with that. It's better for you to see the truth here so that you can navigate the situation like accordingly. And I do think that for this group of like reflective men, I feel like there is some type of like healing and kind of karmic rebalancing. Not that the slate is like entirely wiped clean, but I think now that they can understand what's going on here, and I am hearing the word empathy, they are kind of offering this insight. They're offering their energy up here to assist other women into seeing the situation clearly, to empower these other women to make decisions that work for them. So they don't have to go through this like carnage or waste their time with somebody that's, not really seeing them and not really present for them. And yeah, that's kind of neither here nor there in the reading, but it is just nice. Like when you feel that that there is healing work going on. Again, like not that this situation and the harms are entirely wiped clean, but I do feel like there's healing going on here in this situation. And I don't know, it feels nice too. It feels nice to pick up on. So, okay, what they're saying, this group of like more reflective guys, is that something happened in the past. For most of you, I think that's something that happened between you and them. They're giving me this word soulmate. Now, if that's not you and you just met this guy and you've just started talking or you've just started dating or something like that, and he's saying, well, let's just like go with the flow. Just know that that is probably in this situation code for I'm emotionally unavailable. And he is like wrapped up emotionally, like with his situation here with this ex, that he is very much being called his heart, his intuition, God himself. The flow, if you will, is actually trying to pull him back towards her. I just heard to remove the blockage in her heart. And I am getting karma with that, because karma a lot of times for me is a blockage. There's something here that he needs to say, communicate, do that's going to clear things up between the two of them. I kind of feel like they're maybe supposed to be together, but he's got to take certain actions here, and he's kind of running away from whatever that is. And he's running by telling himself, oh, I'm just going with the flow, because in reality, he's kind of overwhelmed by what he did and what he has to do here in this situation. And so his mind is saying things like, well, I have to do this or I have to do that. So just be aware of that if this is somebody that you're starting to date. But if you are this person from this person's past. So what happened here, I have the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, the King of Swords, and the Page of Swords. So many swords. And even though swords is like the air suit and it rules over communication, I feel like the communication is all like messed up here. And I'm seeing like, when you are feeding fabric through like a sewing machine and then it gets all like bunched up, that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like the two of you, I think, actually communicate well. You have the ability to communicate well, especially like your thoughts and ideas. But what's going wrong here is that with the Three of Swords, there's been heartbreak. There's been maybe even a betrayal here. And I kind of think that he was the one who did it, which is why Spirit is holding him accountable. No, you need to go. You made your mess. Don't just walk away from it. Like you need to go clear this up. And I think part of his karma and the spiritual lessons that he's learning is, how do I clear up this mess? And I think the answer to that is the Strength card. He's got to have courage and he's got to have inner strength. And that is like kind of leading from the heart. And that could have been what led to some type of problem here to begin with. But I feel like there was a heartache, a betrayal, probably a third party situation here for a lot of you. And that caused a blockage. And it actually caused a blockage within both of you because both of you, like your guards went up, like you started protecting your heart. And you can be right in front of each other, communicating with each other and still protecting your heart. And you may have noticed that in this situation, or I think he certainly did, that the communication was off. That you, at the very least, you could say words out of your face hole, but it wasn't coming from your heart. And I think that's what confused him and what spooked him, because despite whatever it is that he did here, I feel like there's love in this situation. There's tender feelings and he feels that it's a risk. So this is him protecting his own heart, getting up in his head, strategizing around with, what it is that he feels like he should say or has to say or needs to say. He is saying, well, I need to communicate my heart, but I'm at a real risk of doing that because she's all closed up right now. And it could be that you actually block this person, like you block their number, you block them on like social media accounts because you don't need to hear from this person. You're trying to heal, and seeing this person, especially because there's already been a betrayal in this situation. And then he's like, I'm moving on. And by moving on, he means like not dealing with what he needs to be dealing with and just sleeping with a bunch of randos for some of you. You don't need that. You don't need to be seeing that. It's not going to help you heal. You've already been wounded by him once. That was quite enough, So you're just like, blocking, you're blocking. You don't really, and maybe you don't even want to see like that there's emotions here, because what does he do with that? I mean, it didn't seem to stop him from doing whatever, and he knows that. He knows that things are kind of like blocked off here. So like, even if you were to have a conversation, that you wouldn't be like open, like at a heart space. So he's confused because he very much was thinking this is a soulmate energy. This was like the Lover's card. This is, this was it. But then this happened, and I'm being very generous saying like, well, this happened. He did whatever he did. And then he's kind of like, well, now I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure what to do about the situation or how to reach out. So that's when he's forming in his mind this, all I can do is go with the flow, because she's blocked off to me right now and she won't hear me out. And that he doesn't know that for sure. But he's saying she won't hear me out. Now I feel like he has like a lot of heart for you. And I also feel like there's jealousy here as well. But so he's like moving away from the situation, and logically and strategically, that feels like the best thing for him to do. But I feel like it's like left a lot of confusion here, like in the communication space, like on your end. It's also confused like your heart here in the situation. So he's realized through all this reflective work that what he was calling like the flow, I was just going with the flow, was actually him just running away, because everything from the neck down is not working. Like it's just all mind. And that is his way of defending his heart. He doesn't want to tap into his heart because he kind of already knows what his heart says. He knows he's got heart for you, and it hurts him. And so I feel like whatever he did, he hurt the both of you in doing that. And he needs to not do that in the future. And he needs to figure out why he did it. He needs to undo the pain that he's caused. But instead, he did this running thing. He was like kind of going with the flow, focused on like his work or his status, his romance, but he's keeping like a lot very separate here. And he, the whole time, I feel like was just waiting for something to change. This also feels like somebody who doesn't understand like, no, God brought the two of you together. Because I feel like he's like, well, we're soulmates. So for soulmates, God will bring the two of us together. God was like, you were together. That was me. You're welcome. And then you did something, didn't you? I didn't do that. She didn't do that. You did that. And so I don't know why you're looking at us. I don't know why you're looking at her. I don't know why you're looking at me thinking that you're going to drop the bowl of Cheerios on the ground and that one of us should sweep it up. Go get some paper towels, homeboy. Like that's what God is looking at. But he doesn't quite understand that. He's like, well, God will fix it because we're soulmates. And God is like, I'm trying to fix it. I'm trying to fix it through you. So see how your heart and your intuition, and there's just this kind of surge of, I need to go back towards her. You'd know that if anything below the neck was working. That is me. That's me bringing the two of you together, but you got to walk over there. You've got to have some courage. And that's become like kind of the obstacle here. But it seems like he's actually seeing that situation. And the other thing that he's realized is, like I was going with the flow. What flow is he going with? It seems like it was because there's his flow, there's your flow, there's the flow of you all together. But I'm kind of getting the sense like, and maybe there's been these women around, and I do think that there's like embarrassment and shame, because it's like maybe an empathy bomb has kind of gone off in this man's space. But there are the kind of people, I'm getting women in particular that will hang around a guy like this that's emotionally unavailable, because of their own like wounding. And so he's going with his flow, and he's like, yeah, we're going with the flow. And it's not her flow. She is being told that she's got to wait by his flow. And maybe his flow will turn into something that she wants. And that's, everything from this point will be karmic for him because he's not going back and clearing what he needs to. So that's a karmic situation that then they're creating together. And I feel like there's maybe multiple people who've gotten kind of caught up in his stream. But also I think he's realizing like he was trying to go with like his flow, like, oh, this is what's best for me. But the flow was pushing back towards her. I want to say towards her. And he was just running away. And the other thing is, while he was like going with his flow, I feel like he was always checking back in on, I want to say you here in this situation, always checking back in on you, always checking your social media. I've got looking you up and photo proof. So I think he was trying to see like, when is the right time? He was looking maybe for photo proof that some of you are single, because he also maybe is seeing you as having other options, and something he did confused you, and then you started juggling. And that could be you have other priorities in this situation, or you thought he's a backstabber and a betrayer and that you need to block him from your heart. And so maybe you're seeing somebody else. And I don't think you would have if he didn't do what he did, but also if he had communicated that, if he had taken the lead on removing this like hurt. But yeah, so he could be waiting for like some type of proof that you're single or that you're open to hearing from him. That's another thing. So he was just like waiting. He was just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But I feel like, yeah, you were always a star here. And there's like this distance, and it feels like he's just much more comfortable in this like waiting room, like just sitting on the fence. And I'm hearing that song Betty from Taylor Swift. And it's like, Betty, like, now's the last time I can wonder like how you'll react when you see my face again, kind of a thing, like towards the end. That whole song is about like, Betty, I'm like super in love with you. I saw you dance with him across the room, and then I ran off and like fucked this girl for the entire summer. Are you going to believe me that if I just tell you that it was a summer thing? And like he's like, I'm only 17. I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. I feel like this guy's like, I don't know anything, but I know I miss you. And that's the flow, the real flow. Yeah. And I think he was ignoring your flow and like maybe blocked your flow like in a heart. So there's real damage, and there's like real, I don't know. There's real karma here. Also, so 3 of Swords, 2 of Swords, because for me, like sometimes the 5 of Swords is like an unwinnable situation. And I think logically, from his logical mind, he thinks this is an unwinnable situation. But he keeps saying over and over again, you guys are soulmates. That's what God just said. You keep saying you're soulmates. Why not put some weight on that? Right? If it's going to work out, if you're soulmates, even if it doesn't work out in that conversation and she tells you to go straight to hell, if you're soulmates, why not? Why not go back? Why not make it clear that I just heard you're in love, or that there's love here and that you just completely disregard it. Why don't you just say, I'm so sorry that I'm your soulmate and I'm dead from the neck down. Why not say that? Why not take the lead and say, you know what? I'm going to fix this between us because I'm a man and society says I'm supposed to be the lead in our relationship, which I don't know that I agree with, and he's certainly not living up to, but he can be the lead in his own life, and he can clean up the messes that he makes. And I feel like some of these men are realizing, I didn't do that. This is just this purgatory, perpetual doing nothingness, kind of waiting for healing to just happen in this situation, waiting for God to just, kind of like bring this back around. But I actually feel like there's been quite a big level up here. For some of these men, there's been quite a big turnaround. They have really been doing a lot of thinking. They're doing a lot of balancing out. I feel like they're like really, really leveling up. And I think some of them are realizing that they've really, really gone down the wrong path, and that they have been strategic in this situation, and that was just them like protecting themselves. They weren't necessarily trying to be low down. There's a ton of selfishness here. But it doesn't feel like sociopathic, which is kind of like what I'm usually getting. And they understand that the way that they behaved would do nothing but confuse you about their character. They understand that just even logically, that looking at the way that they behaved would give you, logically, you couldn't reach any other conclusion as to like, who is this guy? Like, I thought he was one way. I thought that he was my soulmate, but then I don't know, he betrayed me and then continued to betray me perpetually into perpetuity and did nothing to like, put a salve like on this situation. And he knows that, he gets it. And so I feel like he is I think he's actually in the flow now. He's actually going with the flow. I think he's working through maybe jealousy. He's like kind of clearing out I just heard clear out the clutter. He's clearing out maybe certain clutter in his life because he's gone down the wrong path, I think, for a long time. And so he's working on that. And he's like working on his own like being. He could be meditating. Yeah. He might be getting ready to go through some type of gateway. Some type of like portal energetically because he's raised up. He's made a lot of progress here really quickly. So as far as how this is going to turn out, I'm not sure. I'm not really getting that in this reading. I do feel like there's a mother wound with this masculine. Maybe that's also why he didn't open up. But yeah, he feels happiness when he thinks of you. He knows that you're his soulmate. So, and he knows that he kind of spilt the milk between the two of you and didn't clean it up. Okay, so I think I'm just going to leave that there because I'm not really getting much else. But if that resonates, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye, guys.